Hello, boys and girls. Today I am bringing you to the War Remnants Museum here in District 3, Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. This war museum contains exhibits relating to the Vietnam War and the First Indochina War. It was renamed in 1990 and is now currently one of the most popular museums in Vietnam, attracting approximately 500,000 visitors every year. Within the walled yard period, visitors are greeted by military equipment, which includes a UH-1 Huey helicopter, a F-5A fighter, and a Daisy cutter bomb, as well as an A-1 Skyraider attack bombers and A-37 Dragonflies attack bombers. The museum comprises a series of theme rooms on several floors. I suggest you start your visit from the top floor. The Vietnam War was a conflict in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia, starting from 1st November 1955 to the fall of Saigon on 30th April 1975. It was the second of the Indochina Wars and was officially fought between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. North Vietnam was supported by the Soviet Union, China, and other communist allies, while South Vietnam was supported by the United States and other anti-communist allies. The war lasted 19 years, with direct US involvement ending in 1973. The scale of the fighting was enormous. By 1970, the South Vietnam Army was the world's fourth largest army, with the North Vietnamese being similar in size at around 1 million regular soldiers. The war exacted a huge human cost in terms of fatalities. Estimates the number of Vietnamese soldiers and civilian kills vary from 1 million to 3.8 million. There's a special exhibition on the My Lai massacre. This massacre was the mass murder of unarmed South Vietnamese civilians by US troops in Son Tin District, South Vietnam on 16 March 1968. Between 300 to 500 unarmed villagers were killed by US Army soldiers. Victims included men, women, children, and infants. Some of the women were gang raped and their bodies mutilated, as were children as young as 12. Agent Orange is a herbicide and defoliant chemical known for its use by the US military as part of its chemical warfare program during the Vietnam War from 1961 to 1971. In addition to its damaging environmental effects, traces of dioxin found in the mixture have caused major health problems for individuals who were exposed. The government of Vietnam says as many as 3 million people have suffered illnesses because of Agent Orange. Now, my favorite part of this museum is the quarter where they call a requiem. This part of the museum paid tribute to men and women who risked their life to bring the Vietnam War stories to the world. More than 60 journalists were killed while covering the war. Vietnam became a subject of large-scale news coverage around the world. These brave journalists captured images and videos that were beamed around the world from the front line, depicting an apocalyptic scene of misery and chaos. Everyone was horrified by these reports from the war. Soon after, people from around the world joined hands to protest against the brutality that was going on in Vietnam, especially back in the United States of America. The war really traumatized the American, with demonstration began in 1964 and grew into a broad social movement over the ensuing several years. This movement informed and helped shape the vigorous and polarizing debate on how to end the war. The draft, a system of conscription that that mainly drew from minorities and lower and middle class whites drove much of the protests after 1965. So boys and girls, that is my video for the War Remnants Museum here in Ho Chi Minh City. I have been to many war museums. I've been to the trenches of World War I in Belgium, the apartheid museums in South Africa, the gas chambers of Europe, but this museum is really a must visit. So plan your visit here. It is really the ground zero for anyone who wants to learn about the Vietnam War. I dedicate this video to all the Vietnam War victims. I hope they rest in peace. I really hope we learn from history that nobody wins from war and we are all victims of poor judgment. Until my next video, stay peaceful. Bye!